wow. Just wow. That is frankly astonishing. You know that my fears at the moment hinge upon the absolute abnormality of British politics. Everything was broken, of course, by the Brexit referendum with regard to accountability, scrutiny, and even, I think everyone would probably agree now, even basic facts, whether you're talking about lorry parks on the M20 or whether you're talking about customs checks in Northern Ireland. But the Russian interference, the alleged Russian interference in that referendum in 2016, something that became almost impossible not to believe in after the publication of the investigation into the hack and leak during the American presidential election, I just didn't see that coming. I if you pardon the pun, I didn't see that coming. I just thought that the delay and the obfuscation and the prevarication would mean either that it had been redacted beyond all recognition, or that, and this was my genuine concern, that the period of time that has passed since we became aware of the Russia report to when we became aware of its contents would see its impact, however great its impact might have been, would see it diminish over time. But that was objectively huge. And quite remarkably, given the complaints that still come in when you describe Boris Johnson's long history of lying, quite remarkably, events opened with a quick catch-up on his latest lies.
Under the Justice and Security Act, the committee must send its report to the Prime Minister for confirmation that they can be published. As has been widely reported, the Prime Minister failed to provide his confirmation that this report could be published within the standard 10 working days. And as a result, the House rose for the general election before the report could be published. There was no reason for this delay. Number 10 have said that there are only 6 days in which to look at this report. That is not true. The Prime Minister has also said, office has also said, that it usually takes 6 weeks to actually get this confirmation. Can I also say that's categorically not true? The number 10 has also reported that it also had to go back around government for comment. Again, this is not true. It had already been through the processes. The final point is said that the proper processes hadn't been followed in the consideration of this report. Can I also say that categorically is not true? Everyone who needed to see the report in government had done so.
And again, you find yourself wondering quite what happens next, because that was unequivocal and fact-based, evidence-based refutation of official Downing Street lines. Kevin Jones MP essentially saying they told you things they knew not to be true. And the central conclusion of the whole report is they didn't go looking for evidence that the Russians interfered with the referendum because they were terrified of finding it.
Well, of course, because it points the finger at many different people. The problem with this report is that it points out that Russian money has greatly influenced British politics. It has influenced politics on numerous levels. There have been reports of how charities, political bodies, clubs, politicians, and political parties have received Russian money. This money was in exchange for favours. Now, in regards to the Brexit referendum, all of this was beneficial to the people who wanted a particular result. The Brexiteers wanted to win no matter what. They were willing to lie, to cheat, and to use Russian money if necessary, to use Russian influence, and to allow the Russians to run roughshod over British democracy. Once again, you have to remember that they were not looking out for the British people. They were not looking out to defend British democracy. They've continually used this line: we needed to leave the European Union because it was undemocratic. But at the same time, they were willing to throw the UK under a bus because it benefited them financially and it benefited them politically. Now, sadly, James O'Brien believes that this report is somehow going to change something. It's not going to change anything, or if it does change anything, it will be extremely cosmetic. GCHQ and MI5 have presented their findings and explained how those findings fell on deaf ears. The politicians were not interested in actually dealing with this Russian problem. Why? Why did they not want to deal with it? The report seems to point in the direction of corruption and political expediency. It served a purpose. Brexiteers wanted a victory. They were willing to look the other way. They were willing actually to take Russian money to serve their purposes, in the same way that Donald Trump in the United States was willing to look the other way, to take information from Russians, to take money from Russians in order to satisfy his objective. His objective was to win the White House. The Brexiteers' objective was to win the referendum. National security, corruption, legality was irrelevant. The objective was to win. They were thinking probably to themselves, look, we'll deal with this later, if we have to deal with it. But the problem also is that this money, this corruption, was everywhere. As I said before, in the report it says that there was corruption in charities, in organizations, in political parties. London at one stage was called Londongrad, due to the number of Russian oligarchs operating there. This has to tell you something. Why were these people operating there? Why were they channeling money? Who were these people working for? And what are the connections these people have with Vladimir Putin? I have said this before. Vladimir Putin is not interested in Scottish independence. He's not interested in Brexit. He's not interested in Donald Trump. He's interested in destabilization. He's interested in destabilizing the European Union, the UK, the United States. These are the entities that challenge his sphere of influence. If he's able to destabilize them, then he has a freer hand to act in the world with impunity. Let me know in the comments section what you guys think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot. Why not become a Patreon and enjoy access to our Discord server where we share news, chat, and have some fun? If you become a patron, you can also make video suggestions on topics that are important to you. Check it out via the link in the description.